All right. We are now joined by Kevin Harvick. Before we get into asking questions, Kevin, why don't you just take us quickly through your run there in the All-Star race?
Yeah, it was okay. We were on all sides of the handling, and just never really got that right. Had a good good strategy there at the end. Just took a couple laps too long to get past some of the cars that we needed to pass. Just needed a couple more laps to catch the leaders, but just weren't going to beat the 9 heads up where we were running third or fourth or whatever it was without doing something different. And a bunch of them didn't do anything but stay out and wound up having to pass a couple more than we needed to. But other than that, our Busch Light Apple Ford was okay and just came up a little short.
All right, we're going to go to questions now. We'll start with Jeff Gluck.
Sorry, I didn't have a question.
Okay, next we'll go to Mark Garrow.
Thank you. Kevin, what did you think of the whole night, having the fans back and the energy that seemed to bring to the race? Did it feel different? What did you think of the night?
Yeah, I thought having the fans back is obviously what we all want, and having that energy back in the stands was definitely fun to hear, and fun to be a part of. So wish that we would have had a couple more lanes to race in. I think if the only thing I would like to see different, if we did that, if we raced here again, was run all the other races so that the track was 100% run in, so you could run all over the racetrack. But it definitely was nice to have some energy back in the racetrack.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to go to Jordan Bianchi.
Kind of a follow-up to that, Kevin. Excuse me. Would you like to see the All-Star race continue here at Bristol? And did this race tonight fulfill expectations, do you think?
I'd like to see it moved around. I don't think it should stay in one spot. I think we could definitely have the track prepared better. If we did race here again, they didn't even clean the outside lane one time. So never really had a chance to even get high enough to get that lane to come in. The second lane came in, a couple cars made a little bit of ground, but the bottom was just so dominant that you had to run most of your laps down there.
Next, we're going to go to Daniel McFadden.
So how do you think the choose rule played out tonight? Did it affect the racing at all on the restarts for you?
Well, I think that the thing that it does is it just takes all the question out of where everybody is and who's where, and when you get to that line, everybody's already made their choice, and there's no funny business of people trying to start in a different lane or do something that they didn't choose to do. So I think that went really well, and for the most part, I don't think there was any issues.
Next, we're going to go to Chris Knight.
Hey, Kevin. The All-Star race was 46 minutes and 19 seconds and only 140 laps. Do you think it was too short in order to create what the All-Star race was intended to?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm the right guy to ask that. I think as you, I think a short race, and you look at last week, for the most part, it wasn't a very good race, and you had a great finish. So, I think it all depends on, how all that goes. And I think tonight Chase Elliott winning makes it a better race, just because he's obviously the most popular guy here, and it's good for all of us when Chase wins. So I think when you look at that, it's I don't know that the time really matters. I think it's like I said earlier, I think the track could have been prepared and taken care of differently than it was tonight to allow for that top lane to come around.
Kevin.
Next, we're going to go to Zach Sterniolo.
Kevin, you've been consistent on Chase needing to win more regularly in the past, and for him to win this All-Star race tonight in front of the fans, what do you feel like that does for the momentum of? I don't know if it does anything for the momentum of the sport, but just to have that kind of moment with the fans back here.
Obviously, like I just said, I think when Chase wins, it's good for all of us. So, obviously, that's a good thing.
And to follow up, obviously the other new thing tonight was the underglow. Did that have any effect on, or was it weird seeing that in the cars in front of you?
I wish mine would have fallen off. The only person that I talked to that thought that underglow light was good was my 8-year-old. So, hopefully the kids liked it, because it was definitely something that is, I'm way out of that age group for the I guess you call it the underglow light.
Thanks.
Next, we'll go to Dustin Long.
Thank you. Kevin, you talked about the track prep tonight. I think there were some questions in regards to track prep last week at Kentucky. Is there a concern with what's happened here this past week, and is there a worry going into Texas this weekend, where track prep certainly can play an important role in that event?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely dependent on, the guys taking care of the racetrack. And I think when we definitely went to Charlotte, and the track prep didn't seem, like the PJ1 was, what it had been the last couple of years. It seemed like, when we started at Kentucky, the track prep obviously wasn't very good for the Xfinity cars, dust flying everywhere. And, the top was just nasty, dirty tonight, and really no chance to ever even run up there. So, yeah, I mean, the track prep piece of it, last week we showed up on race day, and, the PJ1 was put on the racetrack, without anybody knowing. So definitely, yeah, I think you have to be concerned with it going to Texas, because it just hasn't been, the same as what it was last year.
And what's the lesson of this week, or what to avoid what's happened maybe tonight and last week at Kentucky? What needs to be done to avoid that this weekend at Texas?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, the one thing that lacks there is practice. So I think everybody's kind of guessing at what's right and what's wrong. But the track was definitely not ready to race last week at Kentucky when those guys took off in the Xfinity race. And tonight there was no chance that the top group was going to come in. I mean, there was enough stuff up there that if you drove up there, it was going to take you 2 or 3 laps to get clean back up. So, it just wound up not being able to push it high enough. We still had a second group, but I think a lot of people had the expectations that the bump and run was going to come into play tonight. But when the bottom has that much grip, then it becomes kind of an aero game, which it became tonight.
Thank you.
Yep.
We have time for one more quick question from Jacob Seelman.
Kevin, you kind of alluded to it, and I'll follow up on what Dustin just asked. Yeah, I know everybody was really hoping that this race move into a short track was going to give that dramatic, Game 7 type of a moment. We didn't see that. Was the track prep, you feel like, and the lack of that outside lane, was that the deciding factor?
Well, you didn't have any options, to move around and make your car do different things. And a lot of times if you can't run the bottom, you move up to the top, and it seems like cars have a better chance to fix the problems that they had. And with the short race tonight, not having an option besides the bottom, you just kind of took all those things away of tools that you had to try to race, and make your car faster. And tonight the 9 hit it, and he had the dominant car in the lane that we had available.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, thanks for joining us tonight, and good luck this coming weekend at Texas.
Thanks.